Hey, welcome back to the CT Small Business Podcast. You know me already. I'm your host, Chris. Here on the CT Small Business Presents podcast, we get to know Connecticut-based small business owners, and we get to learn about them and their business. If you like the podcast, rate it, share it, review it on whatever platform you're on. Let's get into the episode. Exactly. Hey, it's Chris, and you know who I am. And actually, I have two special guests in the house. I have Santa, and I have Martin, the elf.
The senior elf.
The senior elf. I knew I was going to butcher it. The one I knew I was going to say the boss elf or something like that.
No. He's the senior elf.
Right. I think the only boss is, Bruce. But
yeah.
That's besides the point.
Definitely.
Right.
How you guys doing today?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
Right.
Thanks for the visit from the North Pole.
Oh, we enjoyed coming down, didn't we, Martin?
We did, definitely. Yeah. Well, anything for milk and cookies. So,
yeah. I had to pay a visit to the Stop and Shop and treat you guys, at least.
They're not bad.
Yeah. And Martin's an expert.
Almost as good as Mrs. Claus's, but
yeah, definitely. We had a good discussion about Mrs. Claus earlier in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So,
she's been busy this year. A lot of visits for her, reading for some of the kids. Some of the local businesses like Mrs. Claus to come in and do readings for the kids. So it's always nice. Yeah.
We'll have to put out there. We have to let people guess what or look up what Mrs. Claus's name is, first name.
True. That was part of our discussion.
Yeah,
right.
because I had no clue what it was until literally about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's good to learn new things.
Yeah.
Every day's a learning day.
Yeah, definitely is, So, Santa, first thing I got to ask is, you're part of I'm going to probably butcher the name here, the Connecticut Society of Santas.
You did not butcher the name. That's absolutely right.
Was I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now, obviously, I know what the Society of Santas is, but what do you guys do, per se?
Anybody who's truly interested can go to our website, the Connecticut Society of Santas, and read our mission statement. Mm-hmm. But basically, we're an organization of like-minded people who enjoy spreading the joy of Christmas, and we try to do it not just around Christmas, but we do it on a year-round basis.
Yeah. We were actually talking about that again before the show. So I actually had a little something, we were talking about it beforehand. I had a little thing planned in July.
Great.
So
great.
Obviously I got your connection, so I'll reach out to you.
Of course.
Perfect.
So, and Martin, how'd you get involved with it?
I got involved since with Connecticut Society of Santas, and Santa had asked me if I had some spare time and willingness to work with him on many of these different events for the children hospice and charitable events, things like that. So can't say no to Santa.
No, definitely not.
I'm definitely on board with that. So it's all good that way.
Now, how long have you been involved with this kind of
the Connecticut Society of Santas?
With the society.
I think 2009 is when we formed as a group. We did not get our 501c3 status until later. I think that might have been 2011. It's a process you have to go through to get that, and paperwork and attorneys and fees. But we were able to finally get that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Now, do you look like? I don't know if that makes sense. Do you look like Santa all year round? You get stopped all year round?
I do.
Right. It's hard not to be Santa when you're Santa. So the only difference is how he's attired. But if we go to New York City, we're walking around. The kids come streaming over to see Santa, take his picture, take the picture with Santa. So it's really, it's pretty exciting, especially for the kids, too, to see Santa outside his usual element of the winter season.
Yeah.
So
we were outside. Nice. We were outside, and we had a random car pull up to us.
Right.
Just because they saw Santa.
And Martin.
And Martin. It's funny because they pulled up, and Martin had the door open. So the way the angle was, they didn't see him, and then he'll shut the door, and he goes, "Oh, the elf is here too."
Right, and that's the funny part too, because I think sometimes some of the kids might be a little intimidated by Santa, but then they'll see that I'm there, and they're a little more relaxed, and then they just go running over to Santa. Yeah,
and actually, I was talking to Lou and I actually were talking to Duck last night. He was showing us some pictures, and one of the pictures he showed us was there was a picture. I think it was maybe you, Santa, and there was a girl who was a little person.
Yes, yeah.
And she was so happy that she saw you, Martin.
Correct. That was exciting.
That was Martin and I. Yes, that was at Lake Compounds.
Okay. Because one thing we should say too, as people who are just listening and may not catch the video, you're a little person.
Correct. Right.
Is that I assume that's the proper term.
That's the term, right? So anyone, I'm actually a member too of the Little People of America organization. So it is a group of little people. So basically, little people are anyone under the height of 4'10".
Okay.
So I'm 4'6". So I kind of make it in that little category there.
I wanted people to make sure people knew. It was like, well, they're so happy to see the elf. It's like, why were they elf? You know, I was like, let me explain that a little bit. You know.
Well, it was interesting too when we were at Lake Compounds because we were at an event and the little girl had seen us, came running over, and she was all excited to see myself as a little person, and she was a little person as well. And her mom said that I was pretty much the first little person she had seen outside of wherever she was. She was a young kid. I mean, how old do you think she was? Yeah. Maybe 4, if that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Probably
right around 4.
Yeah, she didn't say. She probably looked like she was from the picture. Was like 3 or 4 years old.
And she was all excited that I was friends with Santa and hanging out with him. So that really made her day. So so that was nice.
Definitely. Yeah. And what kind of events do you guys take part in?
Boy, we do quite a few. We do work at the Connecticut Hospice. We were there recently. We were at West Point just this past Monday for their tree lighting ceremony. Last Friday night, we were at a tree lighting ceremony for New Canaan. Tomorrow, what's going on tomorrow, Marty? I've already forgotten.
Tomorrow, I know. This Friday we're at West Point again.
Oh, West Point again on Friday, right?
Right.
That's not the tree lighting ceremony was on Monday. This is a Army Community Service party.
Okay.
For the children of the servicemen that are there at the base.
Okay. It sounds like you go to West Point a lot.
Not really. This time of year, we might do 2 or 3 events. During the previous presidential period, there was a lot of money that was taken away not from the military, but from the branch of the military that dealt with family services. So, for example, the gentleman who was running that division had a staff of 32. He ended up with staff of 3.
Oh, jeez.
So that cut way back on their events that they were able to do. Now he's back up to 13 or 14. I forgot what he said.
Right.
But the money is going back to that kind of thing within the Army instead of focus. According to what we were told, the money was going to the space program or the space police or something like that.
Space Force, right?
Yeah, the Space Force.
Space Force. That's the word I was trying.
Santa might run into him, Christmas Eve, but I don't know.
Well, I've got the bells. They should hear them.
They should.
And you got Rudolph too,
right?
Yeah. Well, if it's foggy, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like tonight, definitely Rudolph would be.
Oh yeah,
working,
there was fog tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
And I think too at West Point they were also excited that they're going to be having another counselor on staff. I think that was important too.
Mm-hmm.
So
they were very upset a year ago because there was a tragic murder-suicide that they felt they could have prevented if they had enough staff to deal with a person they knew was troubled.
Yeah.
And they just didn't have the staff to do all the things they needed to do. And this one disturbed individual slipped through the cracks and took his own life and his wife's life.
Oh, jeez.
So they're pleased that they're getting that they're being recognized for the value of what they provide.
Yeah, very much so.
Right. So the nice part too is that their group's coming back together, and then when we go there, Santa does bring a variety of different items from the North Pole, depending on what the group wants. It could be a sleigh. Got a couple of different sleighs.
We do have multiple sleighs.
Different chairs too, as well.
Chairs.
So I think that this one is going to be the. I think that's the wind chair more so than with the Santa across the top.
Yes. Well, because we're leaving directly from West Point on Friday night to go to Paramus, New Jersey, and spend the night there because at 8:00 in the morning, we're scheduled to be at the Neiman Marcus in Paramus.
Okay.
for 2 breakfasts with Santa. The first one is roughly 8 to 10, and the second one is roughly 10 to 12.
Oh, okay.
And we've been doing that for, I think 10 years.
Probably 10
years now,
right.
maybe 11.
Right.
And it's great because we've watched these families coming in with infants, and now they've got teenagers.
Oh yeah,
so we've seen the families
grow,
and they, they're always so pleased to see us, and of course we're pleased to see them.
Yeah,
it's a great experience.
It's gonna be interesting to see the families come back every year and see how they've grown, how the kids grown.
Certainly is, right.
So.
And one of the things too, to the point of size, some of the kids are excited when they get to be my size, and then the next year they come back and they're taller. That's super exciting that they can accomplish that. And so that's a lot of fun that we have with the kids as well as
we get the child or young person to stand back to back with Marty and check
if they've grown a little bit taller than Martin.
Right.
Yeah. We had one this year recently that was a dead heat, even.
Right. They had to do a couple of remeasurements because they were a they were a little bit doubtful on that. But yes, that was good.
Definitely.
So that's the one thing too. And then again, to your point of the cookies, we love cookies and candy canes.
Yeah.
Milk, thank you very much. Hot cocoa.
Oh, no problem.
We try to convince the kids to assist the elves with taking as many veggies off our platter because elves are not very fond of that.
No.
But for some reason, a lot of the kids aren't keen on broccoli in their stockings.
Oh, I must be part elf. I must be part elf then, because I know I'm not.
Oh, see, I keep trying to push it out there, but nobody wants
Nobody
it. Nobody
seems to go for it.
No.
They're very few, right? Maybe one or two might say, "Yeah, that's great." My argument is that it's green; it'll go in your stocking, but they don't really. They don't want it.
Chocolate. I don't know what the problem.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what actually was catching my eye is this, if you don't mind me asking, this key.
Sure, Santa.
Well, I mean, Martin typically carries this. As you know, Martin's the senior elf at the North Pole.
Yes.
He's in charge of all the workshops. And this is his key. This will get in any door of the workshop.
Oh, okay. And
we usually use this sometimes just to, some kids get a little finicky or, distracted and crying seems to be the number one priority. Mm-hmm. But if we give them the key and say, maybe if you bring this to Santa, it'll calm them down and, they then feel like they're part of the team and then they'll come over and maybe bring it to Santa. I mean, if you'd like to see it, it's an old key and, it's really something that, we're proud of. We can get in and out of the North Pole, in an orderly fashion. We have to climb through the windows, so that's better.
Yeah. I didn't think it was an actual key, but it is.
Oh, it is.
It's a real thing.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And another thing is, you have a little red baggie here.
Right. This is for Santa. This is Santa's magic for lighting the trees. So oftentimes, it's once he takes it out of the bag and throws it up at the tree, it'll light up, and then the tree will light up from that
it's
point.
magic.
Oh,
right,
okay.
Right.
Sounds like
so
a plan.
It is magic, so it's right.
So Santa, actually, I got a question for you.
Okay, I'm certainly ready.
So I have a chimney in my house. How exactly do you get in houses without chimneys?
Houses without chimneys?
Yeah.
Oh,
don't you come down the chimney?
Oh yeah, if it's available, certainly.
Yeah.
No, if it's not, there's a lot of magic involved in being Santa. And for example, I'm going to veer off a little bit, but people will often say to Martin and I, "Hey Santa, hey Martin, where are the reindeer?" And what they don't realize is that reindeer can only fly one night a year.
Okay.
And that's on Christmas Eve. And I can go into greater detail as to the magic of that if you'd like, but
yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. Well,
you definitely.
All right.
I didn't know they only rode one day a year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. What would the point be?
Yeah.
They've got a job on Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens at the North Pole? Now think about the North Pole. It's covered in snow. But yet on Christmas Eve morning, when we wake up right outside of our house, between the house and the workshop, there's a patch of wild oats that comes up every year. And we go out, Mrs. Claus and I and Martin, and we have a basket, the same basket that you see over there.
Yeah.
And we fill that basket with oats. Mm-hmm. and we bring it into the kitchen. Now, at the North Pole, you've got to remember, we have no electricity. There's no way to get electricity there. There's not enough sun to generate solar. There's probably with wind, maybe with a little technology in the future, we might have some. We don't have it now. So in order to keep the kitchen warm, we have a great big wood stove that keeps the kitchen very warm and very dry. So we have a nice long table, about twice as long as this table right here. And we spread the oats out on the table. And then Martin and I and Mrs. Claus will have a little something to eat. We'll go take care of some of the chores. Martin will start loading up the sleigh. And you probably know in the North Pole it gets dark early. So just before dark, Martin usually has the sleigh completely loaded, ready to go. And some of the other elves have brought out the reindeer, and they're hooked up to the sleigh. Mm-hmm. So we take the oats that we harvested, and we divide them into 8 equal portions. Unless it's a foggy night, then it's 9 equal portions. Yeah. And we take them in our hands, and we feed each reindeer a portion of the magic oats. And as soon as they've eaten those magic oats, they start pulling on the harness, and their bells start going. And I mean, they're ready to go. And we've got a lot to do in one night. So I've got to run and get on the sleigh. And the second I'm on the sleigh, I'm literally climbing into the sleigh as it takes off. Mm-hmm. And we've got 24 hours to get around the whole world. And if we don't, that magic wears off, we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
But so far, all these years, we've always managed to make it happen. So that's the magic of the reindeer. Similarly, in a similar fashion, the magic of Santa is being able to get into places that you would think he couldn't get in. Now, I can't go to your house right now and open the door if it's locked. Mm-hmm. On Christmas Eve, I can. It's the magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of houses without chimneys. Those kids all get presents.
Okay. Yeah. I always wondered, because I always have a chimney, so I always wondered how...
Well, it's a good thing we're having this conversation.
Everyone else didn't have... who didn't have chimneys around my neighborhood.
I know, it's all good that way, yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
We're all learning something here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like I have so many questions. I got about 40 years of questions in me.
Well, hopefully we've got all the answers for you.
Yeah. And now, Martin, I know you're the chief elf. What exactly does that entail?
Well, again, as Santa said, we want to make sure that the reindeer are ready to go. The other important thing is to make sure that all the presents are on the sleigh and ready to go as well. And of course, sometimes we do get requests for animals, which are very difficult to put on the sleigh. But we'll make sure everything's there for Santa. We explain to the kids that oftentimes we're not going to be bringing a live animal because, there's not much room on the sleigh. And we have to make special arrangements with the parents for animals, dogs, cats, whatever else. Someone asked for a horse this past weekend.
Yes, she did.
She was sitting in the sleigh and tried to explain to her that would not necessarily allow a horse to be standing in it with her, but they seem to understand there's not a lot of room on the sleigh. So we make sure everything's all set, ready to go for Santa, and then, we just wait for Santa to come back, and we start planning for the next season. Okay. So that's our job.
So when your night's over, do you automatically start planning for next year?
Oh, certainly. Right.
Well, we take a break. A Christmas Day, we take a break.
Yeah.
we need to.
I think you deserve it, you know?
Oh, I agree. We do. But shortly after, you're right, we start planning. Every year it seems like there's different desires on the part of the children for different kinds of toys. And, Martin's good about keeping up with some of the things. I have to admit, sometimes when a child asks me for something, I'm not really sure what it is. I have to ask Martin.
Yeah.
There's all these electronic toys now, and in the old days it was wooden toys. It was pretty simple. Right. Socks, wooden toys. Years ago, bringing oranges to the children, that was considered a very big treat. Now you can go to Stop and Shop and get your oranges.
Yeah, kind of like how I did with my cookies here, and milk.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you notice they like the oranges. They don't like the broccoli. We got to work on that one.
I know.
Yeah, we do.
I actually like oranges really a lot too myself.
Good.
All right.
What's like the most popular toy kids tend to ask you for?
Kind of depends on the age bracket.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Some of the kids, now, especially with world events and everything, FIFA 2022, that seems to be the big big computer game. The kids are really excited about that.
I know the World Cup's going on now.
Right. And they've all got their favorite players. They want the shirts and the, to play the game, and they'll be all set for that. And the young
Lego has
girls.
been consistently.
Lego's consistent.
Lego's
right.
consistently
right.
popular.
Right.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the pickup seems to be the problem with the Legos.
Yeah.
Yes.
They enjoy playing with them. It's just the pickup.
Yeah,
It's not,
those Legos are pretty painful to step on.
They are, right.
Hopefully you haven't hopefully you haven't come across that when you're delivering toys, you know?
Well, that's why Santa wears big boots when he's walking around. So
that I do.
You know, they're Lego proof, so that's a good thing. Right,
okay.
right.
What's
so it's not too bad.
Yeah, what's the most like random thing that kids ask for? Like something you wouldn't expect.
Random.
Is there something like you were like, wait, where did that come from?
Right.
Did I stump you, Martin?
You did, because there's such a wide variety of
There
different,
really is a wide
different
variety.
Gifts and all. Some of the kids are very talented, and they want to have arts and crafts, which are normal.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't seen anything really.
On Saturday there was a young man. I think he might have been 5, at the very most 6. He wanted tickets to hear Yo-Yo Ma play the cello.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was unusual. And his parents said he loves the cello. They play cello music for him all the time, and that was unusual.
Right.
It's a little different, I think.
Yeah, somebody asked for a hedgehog not too long ago.
Right.
Did they?
Yeah.
Right. A lot of the young kids, mostly the boys, love the trucks, of course.
Yes.
Everybody loves a truck.
Yeah.
But
I assume all the girls like the dolls too.
American Beauty
Not
dolls,
all of
I
them,
guess.
but a lot of them do. Yes.
Right.
American Girl dolls are very popular.
Right. And
LOL
Barbie,
dolls.
LOL, the marshmallow, the soft squishies. They love that stuff, right? So
yeah.
So that's and of course we try to make sure that if the kids do want to have a pet, that we can impress upon them to get a book instead to read about the animal or the pet,
and learn more about it.
and then maybe the Easter Bunny will bring them a dog or a cat or a horse.
Yeah.
Well, any pet. It's much better in the spring.
It is.
Now.
It is. Right.
Oh,
right.
Remember that? At West Point, one girl asked for a puppy, and I explained to her, why we couldn't get her the puppy, and I said, you don't want to be out in the bitter cold walking a puppy. And she said, well, could you bring me an elf too, and he could walk the puppy?
Right.
Martin didn't think that was a good idea, though.
Yeah.
It looks like Martin.
It was a little tough. It was almost a bidding war for my services at that.
Martin, it looks like you got plans.
Yeah.
It looks like you got a job.
Right.
The rest of the year.
Well, so it's good to have something to fall back on, I guess. Yeah. But I like the job I have right now. But
yeah,
you never know. Yeah, she was pretty adamant about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
She had a plan, but
yeah.
we don't know.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. I'm laughing from Santa's laugh.
It was totally surprised me.
Right.
I never would have thought of that.
Yeah, that is pretty funny though.
She did plan. Some of those kids' answers are pretty funny that way.
Yeah, it was. I always wonder, like, when they have comebacks like that, like where it comes from.
Right. They're pretty sharp
like
kids
it's like
out there.
how they think of that, or like where they hear that from.
Right.
Or you have to tell the story about the little girl at New Canaan in the restaurant. We went after the holiday stroll one year.
Oh yes.
Oh, and her elf on the shelf.
Right. So the big problem with the elf on the shelf, not a problem, but you're not supposed to touch your elf on the shelf because they lose their magic. So it's very important not to touch them. So we saw this young lady in New Canaan, and we went over to talk to her to remind her, and she asked us if we knew her elf, and we said that we did, and we said make sure you don't touch your elf on the shelf. And she said, well, don't worry about that. She took care of that. She told her cleaning people not to touch the elf on the shelf, and everything was going to be fine. So we thought, well, there you go. She thought ahead not to have the cleaning folks. Then, of course, the parents were like, no. We don't have that many people in the house. It was just, okay. We don't know how many cleaning people they have, but they were warned not to touch the elf on the shelf. Yeah.
You must come through so many interesting people, like all year round.
Right.
Definitely. Being right next door to a photographer's studio made me think of this story a few years ago. I can't remember how long ago. But I was in a photographer's studio so that folks could get pictures with Santa for Christmas cards. It was in November. And there were 2 girls and 1 boy and a very fussy mom. And, she kept stopping those photos, adjusting the bow on the girl's head and pull the skirt down and put the hair back, and this goes on and on and on. And the poor younger man is there, and he's just standing there. So finally the mom's got the girls all set, everything's good to go, and she yells at the boy, "Simon, stop picking your nose." And he said, "I'm not picking it, I'm putting it back in."
Yeah, neatness counts sometimes.
Yeah.
Now, Santa
Yes.
in Martin, how many members of the Connecticut Society of Santas are there?
Dues paying members right now, we have 62.
Okay. And I know you hold events all year round.
We do.
Right.
And what are some of the events?
This past year, COVID has kind of disrupted our schedule.
Yeah.
And a lot of the folks that are involved in this organization are older people and are probably a little bit more concerned about their health than a younger person might be. This past year, we had a luncheon in January in Thomaston, Connecticut, which was very, very well attended, excellent food. And, oftentimes we try to add an educational element to the gatherings that we have. And then sometimes we find that just getting together and talking to one another, that we learn a lot. Just regular conversation. But we're all doing the same kind of thing, so we're interested in other people's stories. So here's an example of something I learned recently. One of the Mrs. Clauses said, when kids ask me, do you make all the toys at the North Pole? I tell them, of course we do. And they say, well, how come it says made in China on the bottom? And she said, I always tell them, oh, well, that's because it came from the China workshop. Said, we have workshops from all over the world. We have the Japan workshop, China, Ireland, Italy, Sri Lanka, India. So it's not that they're coming from a factory in those countries. They're coming from the workshops with those elves. Mm-hmm. That's a great answer. I never would have thought of that on my own.
I never thought about that in myself either.
Right.
So that's an example of, the kind of things that we might talk about. Duck has done presentations. Duck, who the photographer next door, done presentations on how to present yourself as Santa. I should be sitting up straighter.
No, you're good.
Shouldn't be slouched. But he gives us directions on, how to position the children, how to position yourself, how to look at the camera, things like that. One of our members is a sign language translator for the state of Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And so he teaches sign language to the Santas, which is a nice thing. I can speak passable Spanish, so we sometimes will have a class on basic words in Spanish, which is helpful. And it has helped some of the Santas. They've come back and told me that. And then some of the Santas have come back and told Bob Smith, we call him Silent Santa, because of the sign language, of things that have happened, magical things that have happened to them, just because they're able to say Merry Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They must get so happy when they see that.
They do.
Certainly.
They do. I mean, Bob had an experience where he was working somewhere, I can't remember where, but I believe it was in a mall, and he saw a mom arguing with her son in sign language. Mm-hmm. And the son said, I don't want to go see Santa. He can't talk to me. So Bob got up out of the chair, went over, and started talking to the child. Mm. So the mom got very emotional. Bob got emotional. The child got emotional. Yeah. It just so happened that there was a reporter who worked at the New York Times there at the time, took pictures of it. He ended up I think it was the Sunday issue of the New York Times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now this was a number of years ago, and a similar thing happened with another Santa who's not part of our organization, but is a Rhode Island Santa, George Martin, who Martin knows well. He worked at a Bass Pro Shop sometimes during the season, and he was able to communicate with a small child that was deaf. And now that child actually he cuts the ribbon for their Christmas display every year. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He got a $5,000 gift certificate to Bass Pro.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Besides making kids happy, I assume a lot of adults are still happy to see you.
They truly are.
Right.
It reminds the adults of their youth.
Yeah.
And they go to extreme lengths sometimes to keep the children believing.
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody on the bus or somebody at school or somebody somewhere is going to say, "Oh, there's no real Santa."
Yeah.
So, yeah, the parents.
Right. Keep that Christmas spirit going. Right. And that's the nice part. It is indeed. I mean, we've had families, as Santa said, coming back for 12, 13 years.
Yeah, you see everyone grow. You see the whole family grow
and
up.
Sometimes it's the grandparents on down, and that's
Yeah.
the one time that they get together. And now that we've done some summer events, sometimes the grandparents would take their Christmas shots now with Santa, so they're gonna have their Christmas card to go out, have it ready in July, ready to go out for Christmas. So that's a nice part of it too, that they get to share that with their kids, and then see them later at Christmas, and not have to worry about cold weather and trying to be dressed appropriately, because a lot of kids, they love that. That's the other thing too, they get all dressed up to see Santa.
Yeah, I noticed
that. They're definitely all excited about the dresses or the shoes or the bows,
the ribbons. Yes,
and they're really doing their Santa to the nth degree. So it's really exciting that way. So they'd be very jealous of your meowy Christmas shirt.
Oh yeah,
that's for sure. Yeah,
I had to break this outfit out today, because what happened was Santa told me, I was talking with Santa here, I was emailing Santa, and I was gonna wear I have an elf outfit at home, and I was gonna wear it.
Doesn't everybody?
Yeah,
right.
I have one in my closet. I really do. I'll show you the picture later on.
Sure.
And he I was talking. We were saying, and Santa asked me, he goes, "Should I invite the elf?" I was like, "Of course." I couldn't be more happier. I was like, "Of course."
See, there you go.
And literally, until I was talking to Duckley yesterday, actually, all I knew was the elf was coming.
Right. Oh, okay.
And I had no clue who Martin was. So it was a surprise in a good way.
Surprise.
It was a good surprise to have the elf. So I didn't want to. I found it not to be fair to anyone else to wear an elf costume. So I was like, "Maybe wear my cat and Santa hats."
Oh, we didn't bring any cats with us today.
Yes.
To the Royal Fox studio. We wanted to make sure it would, could be messy if we brought a cat in here. You never know,
could be.
Definitely,
Could be,
especially or bring to make sure. It's a good thing you didn't bring any reindeer.
Yeah, well,
it would tear this place apart.
They might. They do. I think. Did you bring your antler for the reindeer?
I did.
Too?
It's in the basket.
Yeah.
Right. So, one thing too that Santa makes sure that we bring to different events are
Do you have stuff in that?
We've got the
Could
key.
you show me? Could you?
Sure. We've got.
You don't have to.
No, I wasn't sure where we might go.
Well, we've got,
with this
as you're saying,
version.
when the reindeer getting ready to go, you can hear the bells ringing. So we've got the bells that are there, which are.
In Santa and Martin, you learn that my podcast, we just wing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you just learn that we just wing stuff here, unfortunately.
So there's perfect.
Well, this is a real reindeer antler.
Yeah.
And when you think about the North Pole again, and there's snow on the ground all the time, how would the reindeer get the grass that's underneath the snow? They have this part of their antler, which is called a scoop, and they take the scoop and they push the snow away with their scoop, and then once they've got a hole in the snow, then they can get to the grass underneath.
Wow.
Now here in Connecticut, you have white-tailed deer, but you won't see this on a white-tailed deer. This is what you'll see.
Yeah, you'll just see that part, right?
Right.
This part here is how you can identify a real reindeer.
Oh, I never knew that. I never knew they had that extra
The
scoop.
part, the scoop.
Yeah.
Right. And all the reindeer have antlers.
They all do, of course.
Male,
Do they really?
female, right.
I'm literally learning
right.
stuff as I go along,
Right.
Santa and Martin.
Well, you had asked the question what we do as far as gatherings.
Yeah.
One of the things we do is we have an annual picnic, an annual summer picnic.
Yeah.
And that is in South Windsor. Is that correct, Martin?
Right.
South
Right.
Windsor, Connecticut, at Zen's Tree Farm. And we should back up a little bit and explain that.
Yeah.
Connecticut is a very unusual state in that it doesn't allow reindeer.
Mm-hmm.
if you want to keep reindeer in Connecticut, you have to get a special license from the Fish and Wildlife Service, which they don't want to give you. So there's only one farm in Connecticut that has reindeer, and that's Zen's Tree Farm. He has a special permit. He has 4 of them. Or maybe he has 5 now with the baby. I think there's 5 now, excuse me. So we go to the tree farm, visit with the reindeer, and we have an annual picnic where we all, get together and talk a little bit. We have our annual meeting, discuss the goals for the coming year. We try to acknowledge the folks that have done good things for the organizations, principally food drives. Mm-hmm. And we have a good time on top of everything else.
Yeah.
We also have a workshop weekend, which we had one this past October, right?
Right.
Last weekend in October. And that was held in, oh boy, that wasn't Middlefield, Connecticut.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And we had...
right, at the school there, right.
So we had workshop. We had one on child development. We had another one on Santa, Mrs. Claus fashion, explaining the different types of suits, the benefits, the downsides to them. I don't know if you noticed this suit. This is a new suit for me.
Okay.
Most conventional suits you'll see will have a strip of fur down the middle.
Yeah, that's right. I just noticed they didn't have it on there.
No, and I wanted a suit that really brought out the red.
Yeah.
So this is a massive red.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I was thinking, I was like, that's more red than usual.
Right.
So that makes sense now. I forgot that there's usually a strip of fur going down.
On a conventional suit, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll find with our members that most of them have tailor-made suits.
Okay.
This one was tailor-made. I was measured for it. Helped a little bit with the design. I don't know if you noticed it has embroidery on it. The type of fur that it has on it is washable, which is nice, which a lot of them are not washable. I had red buttons put on this one so that the red, again, we're keeping that. We want that red thing going, or at least I do. This is a new pair of boots that I have that I'm wearing right now. They do not have fur on the top. It's very difficult to keep the fur on the tops of the boots clean. Very difficult. You wouldn't think that fur would get dirty.
Yeah.
But you're brushing up against things and I'm hoping that this is a better way to go. I don't know what the look will be on. I haven't been photographed wearing these boots yet, so I'm going to keep an open mind and hope it works.
Yeah, and I assume especially since, when we walk, we kick a lot of stuff up.
Right.
So I assume that's one of the reasons, besides, like you said, rubbing it up against stuff that's why maybe it may get dirty a little bit.
Yeah,
a little faster.
Probably. And, as you noticed today, the 2 ladies with the little girl that stopped to talk to us.
Yeah.
And I knew they were going to do it because they circled around us twice.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Yeah. I'm sure you guys pay attention to that stuff all the time.
Right.
Yeah, so I was relatively certain they were going to do that. But sometimes that involves leaning into a car or bending down to pick a child up or whatever. And
because you leaned into the car to give something to the girl.
Yeah, I gave her a picture of Martin and I.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about broken
candy canes.
To the whoever they were, the parents or somebody. I don't know who they were.
Because that's a tough one too sometimes because when we're out with the kids, they like uniformity. The candy canes can't be broken. Yeah. Which is pretty much next to impossible to do sometimes. But we try to explain that elves like it that way. You just throw it in your hot cocoa. And, they can pretend they're an elf and eat the candy cane that way. But usually they prefer to come back and ask for a new one.
Yeah.
And, it's a little difficult that way. But you try to make the kids happy that way. And, as far as the outfit, sometimes it does, you never know what people are going to ask you to do, too. Pictures with their dogs, hold their dogs, or hold, whatever it would be.
Because now one of the bigger things I noticed, recent years is, the day with Santa, with you bring your pet from 3 to 5 or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually the Santas that will do that have an outfit that they've dedicated. It's a less expensive outfit.
I know. I never thought about that.
Right.
Because the dogs have their nails and their
yeah, I'm sure they're scratching on them.
Yeah, I did a pet event a number of years ago, and I thought it would be just dogs and cats, but people brought in ferrets and white rats, and the thing that really weirded me out was a big snake. They dropped it over my shoulder.
Yeah. those, it's just like the snakes creep me out.
Right.
Me too.
Yeah.
You know what it is? I heard from what I was told, snakes are like one of the cleanest animals. But to me, I feel like, to me, they just seem dirty.
Right. No, I agree.
And
Well,
I don't know. I just
throw that in the broccoli pile.
I
Right,
think
yeah.
so too.
It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
You can see how an elf
Right.
mind works.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Now, Martin, I assume like your suits or an elf suits are the same type of concept where you can.
Correct. Right. And through COVID and all, had to get a little extra I guess girth accounted for.
Yeah.
So got a new collar put in, and but it is something too. And with the outfits, want to make sure that we're not competing with Santa. We're totally different. I like the green. I prefer the green. I don't like the pointy hat, so wear a different hat.
It's like you have like more of a beret,
right?
So
More like a Renaissance style to it.
That's what I thought of when I saw
right.
your hat when you came came out.
Right, sort of like Bernard and the Santa Claus.
Yeah.
But there are different Santas, and if you remember all your Christmas shows, we do have dentists on staff, so Hermie wears blue, I guess. So that's so.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
So we work closely with all those guys. We'll make sure that you can see who's in what area and what they do. So
yeah,
everybody's a different uniform. So see, you could have come in your outfit.
Yeah, I should have.
Next year.
Yeah,
next year we
we'll
come
get
to visit. There you go.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe my undisclosed event that we were talking about beforehand in July. If we decide to.
Right. If you're
I will do it, but it decides if you decide to hang out with us.
Certainly, but if you do that, remember we did one event in July, and oh my, it was pretty darn hot.
It'll be it'll be indoors.
Oh no, I'm gonna make sure I wear something like that
with
the short sleeves because I didn't account for that heat factor, and it was a lot of hot.
It wasn't particularly hot.
It was very hot.
No,
and we were actually giving out shaved ice, so that was one of
really?
the things where, Christmas in July, sort of an event, and so Santa tries to get out to the communities to appreciate the kids and their families, but also to thank them, and then to also remind them too. We were talking about the food drives earlier.
Yeah.
So Connecticut Society for Santas do a lot of food drives. So part of that is that it's the collection, not necessarily of the food items, but it's a monetary collection, so that then they can give that to the food banks to purchase items for themselves. And what we do too is in Georgetown, we go back in January, and if the kids want to thank us for bringing them presents or just to come see Santa one last time, they're welcome to come out and leave a donation for the food drives, because it's an all year
it's all year
charity and an assist for the community. So
I had actually had Duck on, going back to what you were saying. I had Duck on a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about the monetary donations. It also helps like with their rent. Besides like electricity,
rent, buying produce.
Yeah, people forget like there's also those expenses besides
that people don't
just
think
buying, food.
Right.
Because you got to think too, like say the food share, Connecticut food share. They have, I assume they have fridges. You got to cool, like when you buy like produce or stuff that's donated.
Right.
So they got to store it somehow.
Right. Yeah, they do.
We've learned as we've gone along, and with the food drives, when people bring food, about 10% of what they bring is outdated, as a rule. They typically bring all the same stuff. It's cans of soup, cans of chili, pasta. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but if the food bank is already loaded up with that stuff, why bring more of that? And then the other thing is, okay, we have a very successful food drive. We collect, 15 boxes of food.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. We load it up in a car or a truck. Okay, when's the food bank open? Oh, they're open Tuesdays from 10 until 12. Well, I work. Well, that's when we're open if you want to make a donation.
Yeah.
Right.
So it gets to be a real problem. And some of the food banks won't even take food donations anymore.
Oh, no?
No, they only take cash. And it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It really, and it's for us doing it that way, we can say on our website, which Duck is taking care of, we generated, I'm just going to throw out a number, I don't know what it is, $10,000 in donations for food banks in 2022. When you collect food, it's really hard to say, well, we got I don't know what we got. We got boxes of pasta.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, I get that.
So they really prefer the cash because it allows them to make the decisions, as opposed to, well, we have 150 cans of chili. We got to get rid of this stuff.
Yeah.
So everybody's going to get chili this week.
Yeah.
So it's more,
don't worry about produce.
it's more directed to the needs of the
Yeah.
community, right?
I think it's like when you give, especially when you have cash. I know at one point it used to be, you used to be able to feed 4 people. I think $1 was able to feed 4 people. I think now it might be $1. You get to feed 2 people, unfortunately. Now I think
it would be even. I think
Yeah.
it might be just 1.
so.
Right. But in the newspaper, they say 50-cent burgers tomorrow at McDonald's. I don't know about that.
I know.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll load up tomorrow there, Santa.
Yeah. One of our Santas works in a food bank 2 days a week, and he said that there are government programs that allow them to buy things like 10 cans of soup for $1, and it gets delivered to them. So his point was that typically $1 buys at least $4 worth of food through these government programs. So, for you to go out, as an example, and spend $2 for a can of chili at Stop and Shop, let's say you buy 5, that's $10.
Yeah.
If you gave them $10 instead, they could buy $40 worth of food.
Food, yeah.
So, the cash, people feel better about bringing food and putting it on the table. But and it's part of our job is to educate them as to why, as nice as that is, it's better to give cash.
Yeah.
Right. And that's usually hard to impress upon folks, but they know that it's for a good cause, so they feel a little better about that. Yeah.
So my plan, my idea, I'll kind of sort of spill the beans here, is to have a possible July food drive.
Perfect.
So
okay.
you're giving me more ideas for what I can do.
Perfect.
So
Well, stay in touch. We'd like to help you with that.
yeah,
Right.
I definitely will.
Okay, good.
So I
And
got
Santa, what would you bring to the food drive? What is your favorite implement to bring from the North Pole?
Oh, okay. What Martin's talking about is this past year I bought an antique Japanese shave ice machine.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So in New Canaan this year, we had a food drive. I know every town has people that are deserving, and New Canaan's a very wealthy town, but we agreed to do this for the town of New Canaan. So we gave away shave ices for free.
Oh, did you?
But we had a donation jar, and nobody was forced to make a donation.
Yeah.
If they could or would, they did. We got roughly $450 that day in cash donations.
Right.
The other thing that Martin and I have learned is that our food drives in gaining cash or obtaining cash have done more poorly over the last 3 years, each consecutive year. And we finally figured out it's because people don't carry cash anymore. No, they don't. So Duck is going to be working on getting us a QR code.
Okay.
The event that I did in New Canaan on Saturday, we had a QR code, and we got $242 or something like that in donations, but most of them were from the QR.
Yeah.
It wasn't cash.
I also had a couple ideas of. I'm going to reach out to some businesses that I've become friendly with to see if I can get maybe some sort of donations for raffles.
Right.
And I'll probably do maybe arm's length for tickets for $10.
Sure. Right. That makes sense.
Whatever amount we brainstorm till, and we'll have. I have some ideas of what some baskets. Some. I'm big on. I'm sure you guys are too. Besides gifting stuff, is experiences.
Right.
Say it'd be like a family of 4 pass to the zoo, or
a baseball game,
or
something like that.
like it's like the.
Right.
That's more of like the idea that came from like a minimalist what do you call it, zero waste idea, like people who live a zero waste lifestyle.
Right.
They don't like to throw away garbage. They tend to reuse. Is that the idea that they do is they for gifts they give out experiences instead of say a baseball or whatever random gift I can't think of.
Right. That's not a bad idea. That would be fun to do.
Yeah,
and I think that you know, Santa does that as well for some of the like a home visit, something like that.
Yeah.
For some folks. But then the one thing that Santa wasn't explaining too well too was the ice shaving machine is pretty old. It's actually from 1928.
1928.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
And it was made in Japan, so it's very ornate. And when we were doing the event in New Canaan, it's funny because it's still got the original paint. It looks really nice. So it went from Japan to Hawaii.
Correct.
And then down to Texas, and then it wound up in New Canaan. And there was actually some Japanese folks that were there,
Oh,
and
that's right.
and they were thrilled by the fact that there was this ice shaving machine from Japan. So it was nice that Santa was there, but they were more excited to get their picture taken next to the ice shaving machine, which I thought was really, quite something.
That's interesting.
It was a fantastic machine. It was old fashioned, and I guess they still make them modern ice shaving machines.
They do, but the quality of
it's not the same.
It's not the same. It's cast iron and stainless steel. It's
yeah. So it was, those funny stories like that. They're, get out of the way, Santa. We want to. This is what we're talking about right here.
Yeah. You guys must come through so many like interesting things like that.
Oh, definitely. Right.
Like, oh, Santa's here. Let's all get away, Santa. I see this.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. The kids fixate on something, or the parents, they love that. That was the thing.
Yeah. Now, do you have I don't know. I know you have so many great moments. Do you have a favorite moment in your experience of being Santa and Martin the Elf? Does that make sense when I'm wording that?
Collectively or individually?
Yeah, in general.
I think that the big thing is that there's so many that happen in the moment that it's just, you can see the kids all excited about it. And, then sometimes you look back and when people say, well, that was the last Christmas I ever had with my parents or my grandma or whatever it would be. So those are moments that you look back and say, oh, that was nice to be part of that special moment.
Yeah.
But there are some things that happen that you're very happy to see and share in that family, I guess, monument, a milestone. I actually did a wedding as an elf, which was interesting to do.
Oh, did you?
Yes, and it was a Halloween themed wedding, and so I got to perform a ceremony as an elf in my outfit. So that was a little unique venture in itself, and it was it was a lot of fun because Mother Nature was there, a werewolf was there.
Yeah,
it was a fantastic experience.
That's so random.
So it was really nice. It was a great time. So.
I was gonna ask you if you had to take a class for that, but I know you're somewhat civilian job.
Right. Yes, no, I don't. Yes.
So I was like, that's going to defeat the purpose of me asking that.
Yeah.
Right, I understand that. Yes, no, so I can do weddings and things like that. So
yeah,
so that's the fun thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, Martin wasn't with me on this particular visit. Things were backed up in the workshop. Oh, remember the press was broken too that time. When I went to Oaxaca.
Right.
So I had gone to Oaxaca, Mexico with Mrs. Claus. And while there, I had brought my suit, even though I had some clothes like the ones you're wearing now. Yeah. And we visited an orphanage. And the children were thrilled. They were these are children that, it's hard enough being an orphan. Being an orphan in Mexico is even harder. And they were just so thrilled to have me there, to get their pictures taken with me. We had brought a little selfie printer, so we printed out photos of Santa with each child. They all got a picture with a little heavy paper frame that they could put on their dresser. I had presents for all the kids. And just, I wish I had maybe brought some pictures to show you the expressions on their faces.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was amazing. It was really my fear when I started was that my Spanish wouldn't be good enough to pull it off, but it worked.
Oh, good.
Right.
It worked.
I think when you're in that moment of making, I don't know if this is going to make sense. If you in a moment of helping people and making them happy, you'll find, like, say if you're lacking Spanish, you'll find that somehow you're able to.
The adrenaline.
The adrenaline helps you a lot. That's that's probably the best way you can say it is the adrenaline kicks in.
Right, they're definitely.
And all of a sudden, all that Spanish that you had trouble learning comes right back to you.
Yes, it was truly a magical night for me and for the kids.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, I got another question. I know you got do you have anything else in that thing that you brought Santa?
The basket? I know there's some sleigh bells in there.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know if you brought anything else to show me. That's why I was like, let me just ask since we're...
No animals, no snakes.
No,
so
okay.
You're all good that way.
I was going to say, we're going to bring that basket outside was...
You might think it's like Mary Poppins, but we don't have that skill yet.
No,
we're going to have to talk to her about, where'd you get that bag? That's my thing.
Yeah, I know, the umbrella and everything.
I don't know. She's got it all together, though. She seems to have a plan and makes it work.
Sounds like my type of woman,
There you go, yeah. That's always nice.
I'm laughing because... I do a lot of assisted living facility visits, and tomorrow I'll be at a Founders Hall in Ridgefield, Connecticut, which is it's a senior center, and in most cases there's probably 8 women to every 1 man because the men go before the women do.
Yeah,
and a lot of times I'll ask, "What would you like for Christmas?" They want a man. So I always tell them the same thing. I said, I can bring you a man, but if you don't want him, you don't like him, I'm not taking him back. You're stuck with him. And most of them say, I'll take a chance.
That's funny.
That older folks, especially the older women, are very pleased to see Santa. They get quite excited about it.
Yeah.
And if they have grandchildren, then they want a picture with Santa.
Right.
Or Santa and Martin to show their grandchildren because they want the grandchildren to know, oh, yeah, I'm a friend of Santa's.
Yeah.
Right. Do some FaceTime pictures and things like
that.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like they get excited like the kids do.
Oh, yeah,
They do,
absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
And there's a couple of events coming up. This Sunday, we're at
the Reading
Roadhouse. And then the Sunday after that, we've got a big event, too.
Right, the Holiday Festival in Georgetown, Connecticut, which will have a little bit of a parade and a crafts tent, photos with Santa and Martin. We'll have a chair there. There'll be a professional photographer. It won't be Duck. He's tied up at a different event, but professional photographer who will take the photos, edit them, and email them to the folks that attend. I think that there might be Frosty the Snowman coming this year.
There might be, right.
Oh, really?
Right. Some of them are, yeah. Well, that was funny, too. Speaking of the different characters that we meet on the, Christmas campaign, so to speak, when we were in New Canaan, we had a bunch of young ladies. What were they, 5, 6? And
yes.
They were so excited, but at the same time exasperated and trying to impress upon us the fact that the Grinch was there. Giving us a little heads up that he was there.
You better be careful.
We should be careful because he was lurking around the streets of New Canaan. And these girls were so animated. And they kept saying, but he's really here. He's really here. You got him. Watch out. He's right over there. He's over there. So then when I looked over, sure enough, it was, Rudolph, Frosty, and the Grinch. And I didn't know that they all hung out together. But, we talked to Rudy about that afterwards. But, that was just something we got over. But when we did bring the Grinch over, we took a picture with him and all. And, he seems to have, he saw our happiness in being there. So we spent a little bit of time with him. It was good.
His heart grew 3 sizes.
It did. It did. The kids were off at a distance. They were kind of taking it all in and they didn't get too close after that. But, it was just... It was fun.
If we could get the Republicans and the Democrats to do the same thing, we might country might get back on track again.
Well, that would be a Christmas miracle, Santa.
Yes, it would.
That would be something. Yes. That would be. Yeah.
It must have been interesting to see Santa, an elf, and the Grinch hanging out.
It was. There was a lot of pictures taken at that moment. Yes, there were. There were. Yes, that was a lot of fun. But the fact that those girls were giving us a heads up was really appreciated because, you don't want to be blindsided by the Grinch.
No.
So that was good, yeah.
And, back to the family thing, you can probably explain better than I can, Martin, that family, that the dad passed away.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, that was a couple years ago. That was, a long time ago. And the kids had come to see us with their dad, and then unfortunately he passed away.
Oh, jeez.
And then the following season we were going to be at the event, and they said that that the family's going to be there, and they let us know that they were indeed going to be there. We talked to the kids, and they were thrilled. And to this day, the kids are excited that we show up. They were there. They followed us around that night. It was fantastic to spend the time with them, and it's just that's one of those families that just keeps coming back, and you're part of their Christmas experience, and it's really that's one of those heartwarming moments that you were talking about. That it's just special to be part of their lives, that they want to come and talk to you and give you their Christmas list to pass on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're part of their family history.
Yeah, I was gonna say you become like an extended family.
Yeah,
right.
Almost.
Right.
Yeah, it wouldn't be Christmas if they didn't see us. I really believe that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they look forward every year. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to. I'm sure that you're a talking point.
Well, we do too.
Before
That's
you,
for
we
sure.
do too.
Right,
Absolutely.
right,
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely.
Look for certain folks to be in the crowd, and Santa seems to know a lot of politicians, so
Definitely.
it's all good that way.
It seems so.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all good,
And Santa has a lot of restaurant friends too, actually.
Oh, that's true.
That's they're always excited to see him. When we were in New York one time, they loved Santa. That was, that was during the summer. We were walking around.
Oh, really?
And they were excited to see Santa. The kids came running across the street, and then we decided to go get something to eat in Little Italy. And Santa, they saw him, and we went in, and it was super hot in the city, so elves don't like the heat too much.
Yeah.
As you can tell, it was like one of those things where. So I just kept saying, no, nothing for the elf. And Santa was in back with the cooks and the staff taking pictures. And then when they came out, the maitre d' came over and he said, "Oh, by the way, what the elf wants is tiramisu. I got the biggest and best tasting tiramisu ever." It was well worth the wait.
I'm sure being Santa has its privileges.
Yeah, I think it can. It definitely can.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I assume you get in Martin. I assume you get stopped all year round.
Absolutely.
Not nonstop, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty frequent.
The kids know.
Yeah,
they know. Your friend Doc, we had gone out for dinner. Oh, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks ago, a month ago. And as we were leaving the restaurant, there were two little kids that were pushed up against the window, waving to us. They knew.
Oh yeah,
they knew.
It's like they know.
Right.
So, yeah, we were talking about getting you on a couple weeks ago. So he helped me out and reached out to you.
Well, I'm glad he did.
Yeah.
Well, he's always on the good list, so.
Yes, definitely.
That's good.
Definitely. How about his wife, Diane? Is she on the good list, Martin?
Yeah, I got a new book, Santa. I forgot to bring it today.
Okay.
She was in the D section.
All right, great.
So
I'm glad to hear
good.
that.
Yeah, it was very nice. Yeah.
I assume Diane is Doc's wife.
You're correct.
Sounds good. That's a stupid question. I just heard you say Diane, Doc's wife, Diane.
Right. It wasn't Diane Duck. It was Duck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wonder if Diane calls Duck the whole time.
I'm sure she calls him many things.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But always in the kindest possible way.
Yes. Definitely.
Or late for dinner. You never know. Who knows? Right.
Definitely does. So, Santa and Martin, thanks for coming on tonight.
Well, thanks for having us.
It was our pleasure.
And where are we, Santa?
Oh, we're right
We're
here.
at the Royal Fox,
Fox
Studio.
Yeah.
Very excited to be invited down here. Thank you.
The one thing I never know how to do, Santa and Martin, is end a podcast. So it's always.
Well, we can thank you for inviting us here.
It's always awkward when I just randomly end it.
Well, you know what we could do?
What's that?
We could bring the sleigh bells over. We could all sing Jingle Bells.
Okay. Martin. Not Martin. Lou.
See, you got all excited. You forgot his name.
Yeah.
See that, Lou? He's all excited.
I'm calling you the elf.
Yeah.
And you forgot to say please.
Oh, please.
Okay, are we ready?
So since you're part of it, though, you gotta,
Yeah.
This is what we do with the kids.
What do I do?
Okay,
well,
1, 2, 3.
What do you say? Jingle bells, Batman
Jingle
bells.
bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey,
I honestly don't know the
jingle
lyrics.
bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Hey, I sadly do not know the lyrics of Jingle Bells, as crazy as it sounds.
Wait, we got a year to learn it. How's that?
Yes.
There you go.
Actually, I'm a horrible lyric remember. I surely am, so.
Oh, you remember the grade school one?
Yes.
So there you go.
Yeah, definitely do, so. And on that note, we're out.